Hey guys, welcome to Joe's RC Corner, and today we're going to be continuing on the Cruzer. As you guys know, we got the engine in stock here, so it's right over here in the corner. But we got to finish up some of the things on the nose here. So some of that's going to include putting that firewall on, getting the engine mount drilled out, and well, not the mount drilled out, but the firewall drilled out for the engine mount. So that way I can get that front skin on. So stay tuned, guys, and let's get working. All right, guys, so as you can see, I'm running out of space here in the garage. We got the stabs over here, and pretty soon we're going to be getting these ready to ready to mount onto that tail. But I want to get that engine up in the front there before we do that, because I want to have that weight in the nose to keep it from tipping backward on the tail again, because it did fall once. I didn't see any damage, nothing that looked like it got tweaked, so should be okay. But we don't want it to fall again. So right now we got the weights up in the nose, and I want to get that engine mounted on there so then I don't have to worry about that again. So we'll get that on here first, then we'll start looking at getting that tail mounted. Then we'll pull it off, set it to the side, because that needs to be prepped for paint. Yeah, so we got to get that prepped for paint later once we get that mounted. I want to have all the holes drilled out first. Okay, and next thing, also, I think I might also need to get the this hinge riveted in place here, final, so that way I don't have all the silver rivets there. I'm not going to concern myself with too many of the silver rivets hanging out in places. It's supposed to look like an old military airplane from World War I, so I'm not going to be too concerned about that. They did repairs to aircraft while they were out there. So, but we do have both the stars and bars. Shout out to ATD Graphics here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Brought them the file, and they did a great job getting these printed out. And if anybody has done vinyls around rivets, boy, what a pain in the butt that is. But still, all in all, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. Those look great, and they're on both sides, and they are forward of the D-Day stripes as they're supposed to be. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be doing myself, I'm going to be cutting out some more decals here to kind of commemorate the World War II D-Day and everything. And some of the L4s also had their, I believe it was a squadron number and some sort of other identification on the aircraft. Usually was in a letter and a number. So what we're going to be doing then is we will be going ahead and we're going to put a J and a 44. And on the other side, it would actually be J and then 44 on this side, I believe. I haven't seen two sides of the same aircraft. I'm trying to find a picture so I can confirm this, that they're, that if there's a J on the front on one side, it'll be on the back on the other. But I want to make sure before I do it. But anyways, they're going to be white letters, fairly substantial size. But I want to do a J and a 44. And for the reason for that, you could say it's for my name, sure, but it's actually for June 1944, which is the day of D-Day. So since I'm doing a commemorative style, that's kind of what I'm going to go with on that. So I'll be printing those out myself. I ordered some white vinyl to do that. So that's coming. Now I went ahead and I have put away my nose art decals over here. And I'm going to actually bring them inside because I don't want these getting messed up. So my nose art's already been created as well. As you can see, it's got the L750 cricket, and it's got the cricket on the cloud with a spyglass taking notes. So this is going to go on the cow most likely. So I do have to get this body work done and cut out and mounted and all that fun stuff. I'm not quite ready for that yet, but once we get that done, then we'll take a look, see if we want to put that on the cowl itself or whether or not it'll fit better on the fuselage over here. I really don't want to have to do it on the fuselage, and the reason for it is all of these rivets here on the side. That's going to be fun to try to get that vinyl to stick around every single one of these rivets up here in the front. So I want to try to avoid that if I can. All right, so other things, I'm following Mark's lead here in regards to using some of these snap rings. These look really nice. And I also got my order in from Wix Aircraft. These are the AN4H5As, which I need for the nose wheel up here, so I can get these off and put the correct ones in place. But this is all coming off again anyway once I get this the firewall drilled out for the engine mount. Once the engine mount is on there permanently, it's not going to be on there permanently yet. We're going to go ahead and we're going to drill out these holes to the appropriate size down here in the sides. And then we're going to pull all of this apart because I want to get the front skin on. And once I get that front skin on, I'll have to secure it up high, of course. Probably use some ratchet straps to keep that up and out of the way. This will protect my paint where it's going to probably touch. And then we can get all of this back on permanently, get all of this riveted in place permanently, get the engine mount on permanently. And then my AMP friend Bo is going to be bringing over his engine picker-upper, and we're going to get that hung and mounted. So that's the plan for today, guys. We're going to work on that, try to get that all taken care of and knocked out, and then we'll go from there. So probably set up just the time lapse today just to kind of cover up everything, and we'll go from there. So keep working, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so welcome back. I just want to do a quick update on what we're doing here on the engine mount. So I'm following Jan's video on installing the mount. He has some great videos online here that kind of guide you through each step. First one being engine mount. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're doing right now. Okay, so all right, so as you can see, guys, what we did is following his Jan's instructions on Viking aircraft. We have opened up the hole to a 5/16 first. Went ahead and deburred and pulled out all the mess there. And then we're going to open that up to the 3/8 next. That'll be the next step, 3/8. And that'll be the final size for this AN hardware. Because as you can see right now, it doesn't fit in there. So we need to go up one more size, and that will allow this bolt to go through. And you always want to start off, like he said, with a very sharp new drill bit. This is a new drill bit. I haven't used this one before. It's been sitting in there for a while, but it is sharp, and I've already cut my finger on it, just pulling it out and putting it on there. So be careful. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to vacuum up and clean. So we're going to start at this hole first, like he mentioned. Then we'll move over to that hole, drill that one out, just to the 5/16. And then we'll go down to the bottom, again, 5/16, 5/16, and then we will open those holes up once we get the first one in and the top one over there in. And then we'll maneuver these two corners to make sure that they line up with the holes that are pre-drilled, and then go right on through with the 3/8, get the bolts in, and then we're good to go. So that's the plan. That way we can get this on this. All right, stay tuned, guys. Okay, so now I have the two top ones drilled out to the 3/8, which is the right size for the bolt size. Okay, so those are all drilled out now. The bottom ones I only drilled out to the 5/16. We're going to go ahead and temporarily mount the engine mount to the top ones, and then we're going to match drill these to that to make sure that everything sits straight, square, and flush. Then we'll start working on that top one. All right, so that's what we're gonna do next. Guys, so I only have these temporarily in. I don't have them going in all the way because I don't want to mess up the lock on the nut. So they're just temporarily mounted. Now we're gonna go ahead and make sure that these line up without doing any forcing, and drill out those holes down in the below, and then get those bolts in. Once those two bolts are in, then we can concentrate on that top section, get those drilled out, and we're going to do step up to the correct size for the bolt. So, I'm not sure if most people that have built the Viking know that they're using the bolts for up there are the ones that already came with the finishing kit. So that's what these are here, and that's what we're going to use up there. All right, so let's get to it. Okay guys, so now I have all the four corners down here are all temporarily mounted. I don't have all the washers and everything on there, so don't pay attention to that. It's just temporarily mounted here. The next steps are really going to be making sure that this top part is lined up. We're going to clamp it in place, make sure that top cage is lined up, clamp that in place together, and then we're going to start drilling smaller holes and then slowly increasing these holes to the correct size, and then getting those bolts in place as well. Then we'll take this all apart, and then we'll start working on getting everything clecoed together, or everything riveted back together, and have that top skin at least clecoed in 3 holes, and get these bolted in place for final. And then my engine mount is ready to go in preparation for hanging the engine out in front. So we're getting close to getting that engine on there. So hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have an engine hanging on the front of the plane. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so as you can see, now we got all the bolts, all 6 bolts are now on the engine mount, attaching it to the firewall. I need to clean up the holes though, but everything is lined up nice and straight. As you can see, it lines up right on the center line and perfect there. So I'm happy with that. But like I said, all of this is now going to come off, and then we're going to get the forward skin in between these bars here, the cabin bars, crossbars. Get that just clecoed around that skin here. Then I can fit the firewall back in. But to do that, I'm also going to go ahead and take off the nose wheel. I don't want that in the way while I'm doing that. So we're going to go ahead and support the tail, get that on the sawhorses back there, out of the way, so we don't hit anything and we don't drop the tail. And then we can go ahead and start pulling all of this off, get that front skin in between these, get it clecoed, and then get the firewall back on, and then we'll be finally riveting and final bolt on all of this. Now the front top skin is not going to be riveted down yet because I still need to get behind there for avionics, but we'll be able to go ahead and rivet down the avionics tray to the back in here. We'll be able to get this riveted down to the lip, and also riveted to this. Then we can go ahead and finalize and rivet the instrument panel to the frame mount here. And then this will all be kind of finalized minus the top skin, because the top skin, we're going to go ahead and we want to leave that open because there's a lot of avionics stuff and a lot of power things that need to get situated in here. And I know I made this to come off, but that's more for servicing, not really for installing. I think getting everything installed, getting all the riv nuts, or not riv nuts, but any mounting hardware and so on in here is going to be a lot easier with that skin flipped up and not down. So that's the plan. We're going to go ahead and get this all apart, clean up those holes, and get this all final mounted. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys. So right now we got everything that we can do right now without the engine picker-upper thingy, which is going to be coming here fairly soon today. So we've gotten as far as we can in regards to getting the engine mounted. So we have the mount in place, and that is all torqued and set in place. This is all just temporarily mounted right now. We'll have to put some anti-chafing or something like that on here once I get to the point where I'm putting the cowl on. But right now, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that came on. Pretty straightforward reassembly on that. And then we do have the instrument panel, and the avionics tray is now mounted permanently in there. The skin can still be lifted up, so we'll be able to get in there and do whatever we need to in regards to getting everything hooked up. So in the meantime, that's what we got, and I'll be back with you once the engine picker-upper thingy's here. All right. All right, guys. So my A&P friend came over and let me borrow his engine picker-upper thingy. I did time-lapse some of it, but not all of it, unfortunately. But this is the moment of truth. Everything is bolted on, and my God, guys, that is hard to do. Get everything lined up by yourself. Don't recommend doing this type of thing by yourself. My family is right inside, so I was fine. But seriously, don't do what I do. This is the moment where did I get everything right and make sure everything was strong, because right now there's a little bit of support here from the cherry picker still, but not a lot. But right now we're going to go ahead and let all of it rest on the plane, and let's see if I made the plane strong enough to hold the engine. Here's the tricky part. Okay, right now, guys, the engine is being supported by the plane. I'm going to go ahead and pull off all the straps, and careful. We'll go ahead and get all the straps off of here. Right now the plane is supporting the engine, guys. That's a big plus for me. Means I did something right. So let's continue undoing all the straps. And once I pulled the cherry picker away, that means the plane is completely on its own there. And by the way, there's not a lot of places to grab this engine. Just an FYI, pay attention. Don't make sure you don't get any of the cables caught in any of the straps when you're lifting up a 200-pound airplane engine, or whatever the weight is. I should know this. And there she is, guys. The engine has made it to my plane. What a milestone, guys. I can't believe that, you know, I'm doing this. So next things are going to be figuring out all my wiring, where everything needs to go on the airplane, figuring all that out, getting the wiring lined up, figuring out what wires I do need in regards to what lengths and what thickness, and then I can get that order into Amazon, to either Aircraft Spruce or Wix. I'm not sure who I'm going to use yet, but one of the two. I'm going to do very similar setup to what Viking usually recommends, the two 10-gauge wires, and then a 6-gauge wire going to the starter and from the solenoid and all that fun stuff. So we're going to probably do very similar to that, but I haven't fully decided on where my batteries are going to go. I'm thinking behind the engine in the firewall area, outside the airplane. Since they are lead acid, that shouldn't be that big of a deal. But my AMP buddy that has really been helping me out and guiding me a lot through this process, coming over and checking my work, he recommended that if I am going to put it in the firewall area, make sure I make the box big enough to support some heat resistant material, just to insulate those batteries just a little bit from that heat. We don't need to do like crazy, but at least a little bit. So we will be getting to that. But man, I can't believe it. My plane has an engine now. Awesome. So this is going to be the end of the video for today. I'll catch you guys back on the next day. So thanks for joining, and keep building, keep flying, guys. See you next time.